Hey everyone, happy Lunar New Year. This is going to be the year of the Fire Horse, which is a very moving energy. It's going to be very fast paced. You're going to have a ton of energy this year to work on your dreams or whatever you want to work on. You're going to have the energy to do so. So I'm going to do 3 different readings. It's a pick a card reading. This will be the first pile, obviously. This is the pin for it. It's the second pile, and that's the pin. And the third pile's pin. So, I'll see you in the readings. If you chose pile 1, this is your reading. This is your pin for pile 1, which I'm going to ask you to use your own intuition as to what that means for you. But what I see is the Death card, the Moon, and the Star. So I feel like you could be transforming this year. I think this is going to be a transformative year for everybody in one way or another. But I think you have a lot of hope for Star to look forward to. And I think you're going to be integrating your shadow. Alright, so we're going to do a 5-card reading. And then I'm going to do 2 oracle cards. One will be a theme of the year or something that would be good for you to focus on this year. So we'll go ahead and start with that actually. So we have deepening. Once you're on Earth for enough lifetimes, your old soul will begin to long for non-grasping detachment and surrender. They bring the peace of God. So I think you'll obviously be deepening this year. Yeah, and then a good self-care practice that would be good for you this year is giving yourself sweet treats. I always recommend fruit rather than like candy. It's just healthier and better for your body. Baking could be good. I always recommend, if you live in America anyways, going gluten-free. It's just better on your body. All right. So for the first position, this is where you're gonna be asked to accelerate, where you should accelerate. So we have Ace of Wands. So whatever you're already passionate about, something you're looking at starting that you're passionate about, this is your sign to really accelerate that and start that project, whatever that is. And then what is something that would be good for you to release this year? So we actually had 4 cards pop out, but what I'm getting with this is releasing the internal critic around your relationships. So maybe just not being so hard or critical of your relationships. Realize that no one is perfect. We all have flaws in one way or another. And just being more graceful and forgiving will lead to more of a childlike fun energy, and your relationships will just be more fun to be a part of. And then what is something that would be good for you to contain. We have the Three of Swords. So this could be a heartbreak. I would say just because of what this card is, maybe a good thing for you to do this year would be therapy in one way or another. If you're grieving some kind of heartbreak, best way to contain that is to talk through it, or that is a good way to do that. I always recommend EMDR if you've gone through something traumatic. I found that really helpful for myself in being able to kind of let things go, move on, and get some perspective. So I think just starting the dialogue in therapy could be helpful for you containing this heartbreak energy. And then what is going to be your ally this year? So staying vigilant. Page of Swords is all about staying vigilant, being aware of your surroundings, being ready for whatever comes. Also can represent freedom in one way or another, and just fast thinking in general. So whatever practices can help you stay quick-witted. My grandma does Sudoku like every day, I'm pretty sure, and that I feel has really helped her stay sharp, as she has stated that herself. So yeah, just being vigilant and staying sharp will be your best ally this year. And then what is a worthy risk for you? What is a risk worth taking this year? So I just feel like letting go is what I'm seeing here with the Nine of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles can often mean that we're juggling too many things at once, and then Nine of Swords is anxieties, things that keep you up at night. So I feel like you just need to let go of whatever has been causing you grief and keeping you upset, and just let that go. Then you'll be more able to focus on the other things in life that you want to focus on, and you won't be so scatterbrained. So that's what I have for you, Pyle. Happy Lunar New Year. If you chose Pyle 2, this is your reading, and this is your pin, which this could have to do with a connection in your life. You could have a very strong romantic relationship this year that becomes very solid and strong and integrated. You could both be integrating your subconscious and your shadows and just building a stronger connection. This could also just be integrating the light and shadow in yourself and becoming at peace within yourself. So we're going to start with 2 oracle cards. The first is going to be a theme this year for you, or something to be aware of. We've got guidance. So you could be looking for guidance. You might receive guidance throughout the year. This says, when you make divine intelligence your foundation, you finally have a fixed star to follow. So I would say meditating would be super helpful for you this year. Just really taking time to go within can be very transformative this year. Then I'm going to do a self-care card. This will be a good self-care practice for you to incorporate this year. Also, I didn't bring this up in the first reading, but just thinking of it now, with the fire horse um, zodiac, Chinese zodiac this year. Just be mindful of your heart. So just be mindful of your heart health and just do things that will help your heart. So I would say exercise. You could take supplements like turmeric. Just research stuff that could be helpful for heart health. Yeah. But an additional self-care practice, we have nourishing your temple and taking a walk. So I think it'll be good for you to take walks when you can. Obviously, that's really good for your mental health in general. Getting the sunlight, I always recommend doing it in the morning just to kind of get that vitamin D, help you get that serotonin going. And then nourishing your temple is just eating organic, eating healthy, putting down the ho-hos or whatever, bad junk food. I mean, there's so much of it in America, it's ridiculous, but just being more mindful of your health be very good for you this year. And I feel like with this picture, it's kind of saying that what you put in your stomach also has a direct effect on your heart health. Everything's tied together in your body, your mind, your body, your soul. It's all connected. So just being mindful of that could be helpful. So we're going to do a 5-card spread. And we got the first card already. So this is where you're going to be asked to accelerate this year. It's interesting. The first pile had an ace as well. It was Ace of Wands, but this is Ace of Swords. So I would say accelerate truth and honesty. Maybe just being truthful and authentic and speaking your truth will really help accelerate wherever you want to accelerate this year. Honesty is always the best policy, and I feel like more options open up to you when you are honest, because when you're deceitful or lie a lot of people won't even interact with you or trust you enough to offer you opportunities. So that could just be something you need to hear. And then this is where you can release. So I would say just release misery in a way, or feeling like you're left out in the cold. Realize that that is just a mindset, and that you always have the ability to be included again. You might just need to look within and see what change that's going to take for you to be included again. And also could just be a feeling of not feeling included, and that might just be something you have to get over and realize that you can be included, or you are included. It's just going to take a mindset shift. And then what can you contain that would be beneficial for you this year? So I feel like being too scattered, this kind of came up in the first reading too, but just being too scattered about something you're passionate about, maybe have more of a soul focus could be helpful. I would say use your own intuition as to what this could mean exactly for containing, but I feel like maybe focusing more on stuff you're passionate about and kind of containing that, rather than being so scatterminded, would be helpful. If that makes sense. Hopefully it does. And then what is going to be your biggest ally going into this year or for this year? Looking within, integrating your subconscious. So that really goes well with the pin. Yeah, I'd say your biggest ally is going to be taking time to look within, meditate. I always recommend meditating. That can be as simple as just taking 5 minutes to kind of just have no stimulus going on in your general vicinity, and just kind of allowing yourself not to think and just kind of wander. Also, practicing self-assessment throughout the year could be very helpful, asking yourself where you could improve and being honest with yourself. I think will be a huge ally for you this year. And then for the last card, I'm going to ask, what is the risk that is worth taking this year? So the first thing that came to mind is there is a past connection that could be worth revisiting. I think you're going to want to integrate and really meditate on this idea before doing that, but I think this is saying that it could be worth taking the risk to reconnect with someone from your past. So that's what I have for you. Happy Lunar New Year, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Hey Pyle 3, this is going to be your reading for the Lunar New Year, the Fire Horse here. And this is your pin. So I feel like this is representative of really befriending your subconscious and getting to know yourself very well this year and being glad you did so. So it's starting to get dark, obviously, which I feel like is just a sign to get to know your subconscious again. It's just confirmation to really integrate your shadow this year. So we're going to start with an oracle card for the theme of the year, and or something to be mindful of this year. So we have sanctity. It really is getting dark. So you might really have to look hard this year to get to the root of what you're looking for. This says, through offering, even the most mundane problem can become a sacrament. So I feel like perspective is a big idea there. I think gaining perspective as you look within can be very helpful in learning to fall in love with yourself. And not in like a narcissistic way or anything, but just feeling more whole and content. So for a self-care practice that would be beneficial for you this year, spending time with friends. I think as we really integrate and look at our shadow and try to integrate our subconscious, that can be very draining, and it could be very helpful to spend time with friends, as that can just make things more lighthearted. Also, it can offer different perspectives. I would say don't be afraid to open up to your friends about whatever you're going through this year, just for the perspective changes. And I think opening up helps them just as much as it helps you at times. All right, so yeah, we're gonna do 5 cards. The first card already popped out. This is where you're going to be asked to accelerate. And we have the 8 of Cups. So I feel like Spirit is really saying to really walk away from something that is no longer fulfilling for you. I feel like Spirit is saying to run away from it, like really get away from that, because that is not going to be helpful carrying into this year. And then, what are you being asked to release this year? Or what would be very helpful to release this year? So we have a 3 of Cups. This could be a third party. Somebody in your inner circle that maybe needs to get rid of, that you need to get rid of. This could also be infidelity, releasing that. Way of being. Just third-party energy, I feel like could be good for you to release. Or this could also be releasing having to spend so much time with others and just spending more time alone. I know you got spending time with friends as your self-care practice, but I think just finding balance between spending time with others and taking time to spend time with yourself is what Spirit is asking of you. And then, what would be good for you to contain this year? So I would say get rid of any like self-sabotage where you feel like you're stuck or a victim, or really just self-sabotage is the key word I'm seeing here. And contain whatever energy that is that's causing you to self-sabotage. Kind of really look at that and see how you can contain that. Also, just feeling stuck in general, I feel like Spirit's just asking you to get rid of that idea altogether, feeling stuck, and just know that you're never truly stuck. There's always a way out. So yeah. And then what is going to be your biggest ally for the Fire Horse year? So manifesting. Magician is all about manifesting, taking all the elements and using them to achieve something great. I feel like looking at your birth chart, if you look at your Venus placement and then whatever sign that is how you can best manifest. So I feel like looking at your birth chart could be helpful for you, or it could be one of your biggest allies in manifesting this year. For me, my Venus is in Taurus, which is all about discipline, sensuality, and stuff like that. So I've been trying to be more disciplined in my readings. That's why I've been doing the daily tarot readings, to have at least a ground to stay disciplined, and then I plan to keep adding on to that. So I would say look at your Venus placement if you are feeling called to. That could be very helpful for you this year. And then what is a risk worth taking? So if you're looking to conceive, that would be a risk worth taking this year. We have the Empress, which is all about abundance and female archetype, and can represent new life. And then taking time to yourself, could also be another risk worth taking. You might feel like you can't take any time to yourself, but again, with this reading, you're really being asked to look within. So I feel like if it feels like a risk, it's not, and you should do it. This could also be taking time away from your family in order to come back more enlightened or whole, or just better able to really be there for the people in your life after gaining some kind of perspective shift. So that's what I have for you. Happy Lunar New Year, and I wish you the best. Take care.